Hello, dear children. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Jisha Joe. As we all know, the Council has provided us with the sample question papers of the various subjects for the board exam, which will be conducted in November this year. I'll be discussing the sample paper of biology, and this discussion will be done in two parts. In this video, we will be discussing the first 20 questions from the sample paper of biology. If you find my videos helpful, please do subscribe and share with your friends. So we are moving on to the discussion of question 1 in our sample question paper for biology. Question 1. A pair of corresponding chromosomes of the same size and shape, but one from each parent. So look at the options. Option A, autosomes, B, sex chromosomes, C, homologous chromosomes, and D, analogous chromosomes. So we know autosomes. Autosomes are chromosomes that determine the bodily features of an organism. Sex chromosomes determine the sex of the individual. Okay, so the first two options are wrong. Homologous chromosomes. What are homologous chromosomes? Homologous chromosomes are a pair of chromosomes of the same size and shape, one from each parent. So chromosome number 1 of the father and chromosome number 1 of the mother are homologous chromosomes. A pair of corresponding chromosomes of the same shape and size, but one from each parent. Chromosome number 10 of mother, that is the maternal chromosome number 10, and the chromosome number 10 of father, that is the paternal chromosome number 10 of father, are homologous chromosomes. So what is the correct answer? Option C, homologous chromosomes. Question 2. The factor that does not affect the rate of transpiration. So we have studied that there are a lot of factors, both internal and external factors, affecting the rate of transpiration. So here let us have a look at the options. A, intensity of light, B, velocity of wind, C, carbon dioxide, and D, oxygen. So we know first three options, that is intensity of light, velocity of wind, and carbon dioxide, are external factors which affect the rate of transpiration. So light intensity, we know as light intensity of light increases, the rate of transpiration also increases, isn't it? Similarly, in the case of wind, as the wind velocity increases, the rate of transpiration also increases. What about carbon dioxide? The normal carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere is 0.03%. An increase from this normal level causes a decrease in the rate of transpiration by the closure of stomata. So the first three are factors that affect the rate of transpiration, but oxygen is not a factor which affect the rate of transpiration. So the correct answer is option D, oxygen. Question 3. Movement of molecules of a substance from their higher concentration to lower concentration when they are in direct contact. Okay, options are diffusion, endosmosis, imbibition, active transport. So for this you should know the definitions of each of these terms. So here the question is, molecules move or molecules of a substance are moving from the region of their higher concentration to a region of their lower concentration, but the two regions are in direct contact. Where does this take place? It takes place in diffusion, endosmosis, imbibition, or active transport. Once again, read the question. Movement of molecules of a substance from their higher concentration to lower concentration when they are in direct contact. Answer is option A, diffusion. Okay. If you look at the other options, endosmosis is a type of osmosis where water movement occurs from outside to the interior of the cell, that is endosmosis. Endosmosis occurs when a cell is placed in hypotonic solution. Imbibition, what is imbibition? That is the attraction of water molecules onto the surface of dead or living plant materials like for example cellulose. And active transport is the transport of ions from a region of their lower concentration to a region of their higher concentration using energy. So the correct answer is diffusion here. For this such type of questions, you should know the definitions of these terms. Question 4. The complex molecule consisting of a DNA strand and a core of histones. Options are centrosome, nucleotide, nucleosome, chromosome. What is a centrosome? Centrosome is an organelle that is found only in animal cell. Nucleotide are the basic units of DNA. What is nucleosome? Nucleosome is the complex that is formed by a central core of 8 histone proteins around which a DNA strand is wound, isn't it? And option D, chromosomes. Chromosomes are condensed coiled chromatin fibers. So what is the correct answer? Correct answer is option C, nucleosome. Question 5. The solvent used to dissolve the chlorophyll pigment while testing a leaf for starch. You should know what is the material, what is the solvent that is used to remove chlorophyll pigment from the leaf. Answer is option C, methylated spirit. The leaf is boiled in methylated spirit using a water bath to remove the chlorophyll pigment. Okay, that is the second step in iodine test. So the correct answer is answer C, methylated spirit. Question 6. During meiosis, dash daughter cells are formed. How many daughter cells are formed during meiosis? Options are 4, 2, 8 and 6. So during meiosis, a single parental cell will divide to produce 4 daughter cells because meiosis involves 2 divisions, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. At the end of meiosis 1, we get 2 daughter cells. And each of these daughter cells again undergo the second meiosis, resulting in the production of 4 daughter cells in total. Each cell of the or each product of meiosis 1 undergoes the second meiotic division, and each of the cell produces 2 daughter cells, and the total number of daughter cells produced during meiosis is 4. So you should know that during meiosis 4 daughter cells are produced. Okay, but during mitosis, how many daughter cells are produced? 2. Okay, 2. So here the correct answer is option A, 4. Okay, during meiosis, the number of daughter cells produced is 4. Question 7. Wooden doors swell up during the rainy season due to osmosis, diffusion, imbibition, transpiration. So we have already discussed the terms in one of the previous question. Osmosis, it is the movement of water molecules from a region of higher concentration to a region of its lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Diffusion, we have already seen. Imbibition, what is imbibition? Imbibition is the surface attraction of water molecules. Water molecules are attracted onto the surface of certain living or dead plant materials. So here the question is, wooden doors swell up during rainy season. It is difficulty, you find difficulty in opening wooden doors during rainy season. This is due to the process of imbibition taking place. During rainy season, the atmosphere is filled with moisture. So the cellulose of wood has a tendency to absorb moisture, absorb water. Absorb means absorb to its surface. Attraction to the surface is called as adsorption. Okay, and this process is called as imbibition. So the swelling of wooden doors during rainy season is due to imbibition. Answer is imbibition. Question 8. The semi-permeable membrane in a plant cell is cell wall, cell membrane, tonoplast, none of the above. Cell wall is the outermost layer in a plant cell. It is a freely permeable membrane. Cell membrane is the layer seen inner to the cell wall, and it is a semi-permeable membrane. What is tonoplast? Tonoplast is the single membrane of the vacuole. Okay, so here the correct answer is cell membrane. Cell membrane is a semi-permeable membrane in a plant cell. Question 9. A plant with variegated leaves is. What is meant by variegated leaf? A leaf having both green and non-green parts on it. So, which is the plant having variegated leaves? Options are coleus, lotus, peepal, mango. Answer is option A, coleus. Question 10. The pressure exerted by the cell contents on the cell wall. Options are Tugger pressure, partial pressure, wall pressure, osmotic pressure. So, the pressure in a turgid cell, when the cell becomes turgid due to end osmosis, what happens? The pressure is exerted by the cell contents on the cell wall, and this pressure is called as Tugger pressure. And in response or in return to this Tugger pressure, the cell wall exerts a pressure on the cell contents. This pressure is called as wall pressure. So, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is option A, Tugger pressure. The pressure exerted by the cell contents on the cell wall is Tugger pressure. Question 11. The cell component visible only during cell division. Chromosome, chromoplast, chromatin, centriole. So, chromosomes, we know condensed chromatin fibers are called chromosomes. As we know, when the cell enters into the cell division stage, the chromatin condenses and coils to form the chromosomes. What is chromoplast? Chromoplast is a cell organelle. It is a plastid, colored plastid. And centriole refers to the two rod-shaped structures present inside the centrosome in animal cell. So here the correct answer is, which is the cell component visible only during cell division? It is the chromosome. It is not chromatin, because as the cell enters into the cell division stage, the chromatin condenses and coils to form the chromosome. So the answer, the correct answer is option A, chromosome. Question 12. Marine fish when placed under tap water burst because of. Options are endosmosis, exosmosis, diffusion, plasmolysis. So, when marine fish is placed in tap water, what is the peculiarity of tap water? Tap water is a hypotonic solution. So, when marine fish is placed in tap water, what actually takes place? Endosmosis will take place, isn't it? When a cell is placed in hypotonic solution, endosmosis will take place, and as a result, the cell will burst, because in animal cells do not have a rigid cell wall, so the cell will naturally burst. So what is the answer? Correct answer is endosmosis. Okay, marine fish when placed under tap water burst because of endosmosis. Let us have a look at the other options also. Exosmosis. When does exosmosis take place? When a cell is placed in hypertonic solution. For example, if we take another question, when a freshwater fish is put in salt water, what will happen? Exosmosis will take place and the cells will shrink and the fish will die. So, exosmosis. When does exosmosis take place? When the cell is placed in hypertonic solution. Now, what is diffusion? We have already discussed what is diffusion. What is plasmolysis? When does plasmolysis take place? Plasmolysis occurs when a cell is placed in hypertonic solution. As a result of exosmosis, the cell contents will shrink, will move away from the cell wall. Okay, and this is called as plasmolysis. So here, as we have already discussed, the correct answer is option A, endosmosis. Okay, now question 13. The sites of dark reaction of photosynthesis. Options are grana, fret, stroma, stoma. Grana, what is grana? The closely packed flattened sacs present inside the chloroplast. The flattened sac-like structures which are closely packed, these are the thylakoids. Pile of thylakoids. We know the thylakoids are packed one above the other and is called as the grana. Okay, grana are the sites of light reaction. Light reaction takes place in the grana or in the thylakoids, because we know on the walls of the thylakoids the chlorophyll pigment is present. So light reaction takes place in the grana or on the thylakoids. Okay, moving on to the second option, fret. Fret refers to the lamellae or the channels that connect we know the thylakoid of one granum may be connected to the thylakoid of another granum by means of fret channels. Those connections are called as fret. Okay. Now, what is stroma? Stroma refers to the fluid matrix that is present inside the chloroplast. So, the stroma contain the enzymes necessary for dark reaction of photosynthesis. Okay, and the last option, stoma. What is stoma? Stoma is the minute aperture, the minute opening of the stomata, which is guarded by the two guard cells, bean-shaped guard cells. So that minute opening of the stomata is called as stoma. So what is the correct answer? Option C, stroma. The site of dark reaction of photosynthesis is stroma. Okay. The words are confusing there, stoma and stroma. If you don't look clearly, you might not see the word or the letter R there. So there is a chance for getting the answer wrong. So such questions, be careful. Read the question properly and answer. Question 14. The alternative forms of the same gene occupying the same position on homologous chromosomes. The alternative forms of the same gene occupying the same position on homologous chromosomes. Options are chromatids, alleles, autosomes, centromere. Chromatids. What are chromatids? The two arms of a chromosome are called chromatids. What is an allele? Alternative forms of a gene are called alleles. Okay, autosomes, we know they are the chromosomes that determine the bodily features of an organism. And centromere, what is centromere? The region where the two chromatids of a chromosome are joined or attached is called as the centromere. So here the question is alternative forms of the same gene occupying the same position on homologous chromosomes. Answer is option B, alleles. Question 15. Guttation takes place through. What is the correct answer? Options are stomata, lenticels, cuticle, hydatodes. Guttation takes place through hydatodes. Okay, stomata and lenticels as well as cuticle, these are parts through which transpiration occurs. Transpiration occurs through the stomata, which is called as stomatal transpiration. There is lenticular transpiration which occurs through the lenticels, and cuticular transpiration which occurs through the cuticle. The highest highest percentage of water loss by transpiration occurs through stomata and the least through cuticle. And here the question is guttation takes place through hydatodes. Hydatodes is the correct answer. Question 16. Osmosis is. Okay. So what is the correct, for such questions you should know the definition of those terms. Osmosis, we know it is the movement of water molecules. Okay, water molecules. So look at the option A, B, C and D. The first option, movement of water from their lower concentration to higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Option B, movement of solutes from their lower concentration to their higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Option C, movement of water from their higher concentration to their lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Option D, movement of water from their higher concentration to their lower concentration through a freely permeable membrane. So if you look at the options, you can see that option B and option D are wrong. Option D, it is not the movement of solutes actually. It is osmosis is the movement of water molecules. So option B is ruled out. And we know osmosis occurs through a semi-permeable membrane. So if you look at option D, it is a freely permeable membrane that is present there. So option D is also ruled out. So we have ruled out two options. And remaining two options, option A and option C, look at the two options. The first option is movement of water from their lower concentration to their higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. And option C is movement of water from their higher concentration to their lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Which is the correct answer? Option C. Movement of water molecules from a region of their higher concentration to their lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. Question 17. Photolysis. What is photolysis? Options are splitting of water molecules into hydrogen ions and oxygen in presence of light in the grana. B. Splitting of water molecules into hydrogen ions and oxygen in presence of light in the stroma. C. Splitting of water molecules into hydrogen ions and oxygen in the absence of light in the grana. And option D. Splitting of water molecules into hydrogen ions and oxygen in the absence of light in stoma. Okay, it is not stoma, stroma. Okay, now photolysis. The term photolysis means splitting in presence of light. Okay, if that is the word meaning of photolysis, then options C and D are wrong. Because we can see that in both the options, you can see the splitting of water molecules take place in the absence of light. So option C and D have been ruled out. Okay, that is wrong. Now we have to compare the other two options. Option A is splitting of water molecules into hydrogen ions and oxygen in presence of light in the grana. And option B is splitting of water molecules into hydrogen ions and oxygen in presence of light in the stroma. So we have already discussed in one of the previous questions that light reaction occurs in the grana and the dark reaction occurs in the stroma. Photolysis is a process which requires light. Photolysis, splitting in presence of light. So what is the correct answer? The correct option, option A, splitting of water molecules into hydrogen ions and oxygen in presence of light in the grana. That is photolysis. Hope it is clear to all of you. Now we are moving on to the next question. Question number 18. Law of segregation states that. So there are three laws of Mendel. You should know all the three laws. Okay, the law of dominance, the law of purity of gametes, or the law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. All the three laws should be clear to you. So here the law of segregation states that option A, the members of a pair of factors join during the formation of gametes. The two members of a pair of factors separate during the formation of gametes. The two chromosomes of a pair of factors separate during the formation of gametes. The two members of a pair of factors separate during the process of germination. So here the law of segregation. What is the law? You should know the law. You should know all the three laws. Basically all the three laws you should be familiar with. And the law of segregation states that the two members of a pair of factors separate during the formation of gametes. Like the previous questions, you can rule out the other ones and then we can come to the final conclusion. Okay, first we can rule out option A, that is wrong, because the two members, here it is written, the two members of a pair of factors join during the formation of gametes. That is wrong, they are not joining. they are separating, or segregation is taking place there. Okay, and option D is also wrong because it is not taking place during the process of germination. Okay, that is also wrong. Now, the other two options, option B and option C, the two members of a pair of factors. A pair of factors means factors in earlier times before the term gene was coined, the term factors was used. Okay, so the members of a pair of factors separate during the formation of gametes. It is not the two chromosomes of a pair. We know the factors which are now called as the genes are located on the chromosomes. So option C is wrong. It is option B which is correct. The members of a pair of factors separate during the formation of gametes. The correct answer is option B. The two members of a pair of factors separate during the formation of gametes. Question number 19. Guttationess. The loss of water in the form of water droplets from the surface of leaf. The loss of water in the form of water droplets through stomata. The loss of water in the form of water vapor along the leaf margin. The loss of water in the form of water droplets along the leaf margin. So you can First of all, you can rule out option number C. That is wrong, because guttation is the loss of water in the form of water droplets. Okay, so in option C, it is written the loss of water in the form of water vapor. That is wrong. Okay, so we have ruled out option C. Now compare the other three options. First option is loss of water in the form of water droplets from the surface of leaf. Okay. B, loss of water in the form of water droplets through stomata. That is wrong. Through stomata, transpiration is taking place, not guttation. And option D is loss of water in the form of water droplets along the leaf margin. Which is the correct answer? Option A. We have already ruled out option C and option B. Which is correct now? Option A or option D? Here in option A, it is said it is the loss of water as water droplets from the surface of leaf. And option D, loss of water in the form of water droplets along the leaf margins. So which is the correct answer? Guttation occurs along the leaf margins. Okay, so option D is the correct answer. The loss of water in the form of water droplets along the leaf margins. Guttation does not take place from the surface of the leaf. It occurs from the leaf margins. Now the last question, that is question 20. Active transport. What is active transport? We have already discussed this in one of the previous questions. Let us have a look at the options. Passage of water from its lower to higher concentration through a cell membrane without an expenditure of energy. B, passage of ions from its lower to higher concentration through a cell membrane without any expenditure of energy. C, passage of water from its lower to higher concentration through a cell membrane using energy from the cell. D, passage of ions from its lower to higher concentration through a cell membrane using energy from the cell. So first two options, we know active transport. From the term itself, we can understand that it occurs actively. That means it requires energy. There is an expenditure of energy taking place there. So the first two options are wrong. Okay, in the first two options, you can see that it is taking place without any expenditure of energy. So you can rule out the first two options. Now compare the option C and option D. Passage of water from its lower concentration to higher concentration, or is it the passage of ions from its lower to higher concentration? What is active transport? It is the passage of ions, not water. Passage of ions. Mineral ions are absorbed by the process of active transport. So it is the passage of ions from its lower to higher concentration through a cell membrane using energy from the cell. So that is the correct answer, option D. Active transport is the passage of ions from its lower to higher concentration through a cell membrane using energy from the cell. So children, with this I am coming to the end of this session. We have discussed the first 20 questions from the sample question paper for biology. And the remaining questions will be discussed in another session. If you have any doubts regarding any of the questions, please ask your doubts and give your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.